Split infinitives, to do or to not do. See what I did there? The infinitive form of the verb is a form that has no specific subject. It's just the verb in its raw form. In English, it is always characterized by the word to eat, to walk, to run, to know. But in Romance languages, such as French, Spanish, Latin, the infinitive is a single word, whereas in English it has two words, to eat, to walk, to like. But in Spanish, of course, that might be comer, or pedir, or gustar. And those two words in English are squished together into one word in Spanish or French or Latin, and that causes a problem for English speakers. But perhaps you remember this very famous phrase, to boldly go where no one has gone before. That's something that we're very familiar with. It's a Star Trek phrase for all you Trekkies out there. A split infinitive occurs when the to is separated from its verb by other words. And that is what's happening in this phrase, to boldly go. We've inserted the word boldly, which, if you're keeping up with your parts of speech, you know is an adverb, and it describes how we go. For a long time, split infinitives have been regarded by a lot of writers and style guide keepers of the language as a failure of style. It's something to be avoided at all costs. But this rule is antiquated and it's often disregarded, as you can see here. Splitting infinitives is commonplace in spoken language and even in written English. Sometimes writers will tie themselves into knots trying to avoid the split infinitive. But the key is really recognizing infinitives and understanding that we have a choice to make regarding splitting an infinitive in English. Sometimes it causes confusion to split the infinitive, and so being aware of our infinitives can help strengthen and clarify our arguments. Most of the time, I suggest avoiding splitting infinitives in the formal register of an essay or another piece of academic writing, in part because it gives you credibility with people who are reading, but we don't have to follow that rule. I really want you to be aware of splitting infinitives if it's going to create confusion, and especially if not splitting the infinitives is going to be clumsy or awkward. So it really is a matter of clarity. In these three sentences, we have the same words. I simply want to live. I want to live simply. I want to simply live. I simply want to live is a darker sentence than I want to live simply. I simply want to live conjures up images of desperate chases and maybe pleading for your life or something like that. But I want to live simply conjures up images of maybe a tiny house and having a garden or something like that. I want to simply live is confusing. I don't know which one of those it is. I simply want to live or I want to live simply. It could be either one. And so splitting the infinitive in this case creates confusion. And that's all I'm asking you to think about. In this case, we have an adverb that moves around in the sentence and describes different things. How I want to live, or in this case, how you want. So is it the living or is it the wanting? Some other examples that we could discuss are located here. I was told to always keep a good lookout. I was told to always do that, so to do it always, or I was always told that. If you move that adverb around, you can have different meanings to your sentence. A couple others here. I asked her to simply set the table. That could mean to do that in a simple way, pared down, or it can mean that I just asked you to do the one thing. And you can see all of these examples here can give us different results depending on how we interpret that adverb and its placement in the sentence. So a clarity tip. If the split infinitive conveys your intended thought and sounds idiomatic, that means natural, then just leave it. But if the split infinitive sounds awkward or it muddies your thought, or even worse, creates confusion and gives you multiple interpretations of the same sentence, then you should rewrite the sentence. And for that matter, then, it should be easy enough to figure out whether or not you can split or not split your infinitives.